Let's go!
Okay, now squat it.
All right. Is Kipping Norton?
They said you couldn't, Kipling. They said we were done. We're gonna need this!
I don't believe that mad stomp was sufficient.
Please don't tear a bicep.
Yeah, please.
Couldn't do it without my baby!
That's right. Number 1.
See what happens? I bring these motherfuckers to Canada and they sit here and make fun of me.
My hand messed up.
So now I really have to whoop these boys since they've had some fun at my expense. So we'll see who's laughing. We'll see who's laughing. He's laughing. He's laughing. Hey guys, we're back with a weekly training summary. Sorry it's been a little bit late. I was in Canada last weekend. We were doing a VIP camp for Canada, duh. And as you can see, I brought numerous friends with me, all of whom spent the majority of the time making fun of me. So you can see what the kind of abuse I deal with from my friends. But overall, a good week training. I actually am feeling pretty good. Hips feel good. Lower back feels pretty good. Knees feel good. All that kind of stuff. Groin feels good. So we start off first day. It's 3 sets of 8 with, I think that's 460. Yes, 460. So 3 sets of 8 there. And felt like it was moving pretty smoothly. I have been dealing with some arm pain, and in fact, at a certain point the week before, it was basically debilitating in that I could hardly even lift my arm up. Now, this is something that I've dealt with before. Typically, low bar squats aggravate it, and then a lot of benching aggravates it, which guess what I'm doing right now. But I always found that I was able to train through it. And you'll see one of the things that was able to help me, which I was pretty skeptical of at first, was Mark Bell has these slingshot, I don't want to call them wraps, they're cuffs, for arm pain. And I just decided to start using those. And actually, I wouldn't say it took away the pain, because it definitely was still there, but it certainly made things a lot more manageable. And actually, the funny thing was, the more I warmed up, the worse it felt. So I actually kind of not cut down my warm-up sets, but I didn't try to get overly warm, if that sounds weird, but it seemed to work. And later in the week, the pain started going away, and now, fortunately, it seems to have kind of abated. So a couple people asked me who saw me in the gym. If you noticed, I was using a couple different belts here. This one I'm lifting in right now is my single buckle Bob's belt. That's what I did my last test day in. I really like it. I wish it was a little bit stiffer, but it's very comfortable and put together very well. I was also using my lever, and the problem with my lever belt right now is, some of you know, is I had trouble with levers shattering until I got one from Iron Tanks. And that lever from Iron Tanks is built like a tank. It is awesome. Obviously, I've only been lifting with it for a few months, but I'm pretty sure I can lift with it for a few years and it's not going to shatter. It's an ounce heavier than any other lever I've used, and just really sturdy. So I've been pretty happy with that. But I've been kind of going back and forth because I'm between holes on the lever belt, and so it's either too tight or not tight enough. Here doing bench, this is 290, and this was for 3 sets of 7, although I only recorded 1 set. You can see me using those slingshot cuffs. Felt okay, felt a little bit out of the groove here, But on high rep bench, I always feel kind of out of the groove. Just so many reps, it just gets hard to maintain position. Deadlifts here, this is 520 for 3 sets of 6. And I've got to say, over the last couple of months, deadlifts have been feeling really good. I just really feel like I'm in a good spot with deadlifts. They're moving very smoothly. Even when I feel bad, I'm still kind of nailing the movement. So I'm pretty happy with that. And just really no pain, no low back pain, nothing. You're going to see later some friends of mine deadlifting and how they kind of reset between reps. I certainly don't bounce. A lot of people ask me, well, you don't keep constant tension on it. What you have to realize is tension is cumulative over a set. Okay? It's not as if as soon as you let tension off, that muscle is no longer stimulated. You're going to put tension right back on it. And kind of getting yourself back in a better position during each deadlift is much safer. If you just touch and go, that bar is going to get away from you, and you're going to have a much higher chance for injury. Plus, for what I do in a powerlifting meet, touch and go has no bearing on what you can do because you're getting momentum from it. Here's Paul doing a conservative max with, I think, 500. He's on a program right now where he's conservative maxing his deadlift 3 times a week. And a little slow there off the ground, but kept himself in good position. So he was pretty happy with that. This is day 2, which I think it was Wednesday of last week. And we're doing 490 here for 4 sets of 6. And again, felt like the weight was moving pretty well. I was pretty happy. We're being pretty conservative this training block in terms of moving up weight. It was only 5 pound or 10 pound increase from the week before, and I think this is weight I could probably do for 12, 13 reps. So we're being pretty conservative, and part of that is probably because we're running a longer training block up to this next meet. So I talked to Ben about it. We just want to make sure I stay in good health. Because things will continue to progress. I've progressed. If I get my training volume in, if I do what I need to do, the weights go up. So it's kind of keeping the long-term game plan in mind, and so far I've been pretty happy with how everything is going. But going back to the deadlifts, you'll see like Ryan and Ben and my client Katie, who I'm going to show later, they completely reset between reps. So they will actually set the bar down, stand upright, grab the bar again, and then do the rep again. And that's kind of the Mike Zordo school of thought, where the deadlift is a completely concentric movement. And so your setup is so crucial. So they almost do like clustered singles. But I don't quite do that. But what I do is you'll see me, I'll let the weight settle, I'll unload my hips, and then I will start again. So I definitely don't touch and go, but I don't go to the extreme that Mike and Ryan and Ben and Katie do. But I'm not saying that's right or that's wrong. I'm not saying one person's right or wrong. I think all those training techniques have benefits. And so I would urge you to try it both ways and see what you like. I never have been a big fan of touch and go. I think it's higher risk for injury, and I don't see a whole lot of benefits to it other than the kind of bro-tastic, well, you've got to keep constant tension bro. There's just no evidence that's better than unloading slightly between reps and then going again. You're still getting the same total amount of time under tension. So this is my last set here with 490 for a set of 6 on squats. As you can see, I kind of dip to my right. And I've talked about this previously, but I think that's because I have one leg that's longer than the other. My left leg is actually slightly longer than my right. And I've never had an injury. It's never caused me any problems. But it just doesn't look as pretty as it probably could. So then we have a bench press here. This was 325 for triples, and I think it was 5 sets of 3. And I was dealing with a little bit of arm pain here, which made me have, so the last like inch, I'm losing tightness in the movement, and I think that's just from the arm pain and anticipating that. On to deadlifts. This is 555 for 4 sets of 4 here. And this felt pretty good. Again, it was really, I think the biggest thing for me is I apply a lot of tension to the bar before I even start to press with my legs. So you will see my lats contract right there, and then the bar comes up. Lats contract, then drive down with my legs. And of course had my headphones fall out. Here's a set. As you guys know, I use hook grip sparingly, even though I use it in contests, which would seem to be weird because of the laws of specificity. Pardon my yawning. It's an early morning for me when I'm recording this. But what I find is the more I use the hook grip, the more calloused my hands get, the more chunky they get, and actually the less of a grip I'm able to get on the bar. So I'll use it like one set or a couple sets per week just to make sure I'm practiced. But I won't use it every set because it would just tear my hands up too much. This is the last set here, I believe, of 4. Felt real good, was getting good leg drive, spreading the floor correctly. Yeah, just really feeling in the groove here. The cue I use, I kind of try to contract my lats and pull myself down to the bar and then press up with my legs. Here's Paul. This is interesting, so I want to show you guys. He's doing 6 singles here, but only taking about, now I've cut it down to save on time, but he's only taking about 20 to 30 seconds rest between singles. And so instead of doing, sets of 2 or whatever, he's kind of doing this to get his volume in, but still really work on his setup. And I believe this is with 400 or 405 or 415. So this is another technique you can do. Maybe with 405 you could only do, 3-4 reps. But if you give yourself a little bit of time in between each single, you could do more reps, get more volume, and practice more. Now, Paul could probably do 405 for well over 10 reps. But it's just, again, this is a training technique. This is something we've learned from Dr. Zordos and Matt Gary. Something that can be helpful possibly for you. And there's a video out there of me doing 585 for singles, resting 60 seconds between each rep and doing 15 singles. And that was absolutely god-awful. I was doing it, I think, conventional, and it was god-awful. But, Paul's deadlift has been going really well. Like we talked about, he's conservative maxing 3 times a week. So he'll hit a conservative max, and then he will do a certain amount of reps afterwards. Here's Paul's bench. This is 325. His bench has been going very well. Paul's right at around 400. He's never hit it in the meet. I've seen him hit it in the gym. And he hit 385 actually a couple days ago, conservative max. I don't have footage of it. But it's just been, he's not been able to squat really because his knees have been bothering him. He's a very tall guy. He's 6'4". So it's hard for him to keep tightness throughout the entire movement. I think that's been part of the problems he's been having with his knees. But the benefit to that is he's putting more focus into his deadlift and bench, and those have been going very well. So here's the last day for me of squatting. This is actually when we got to Canada, and we're training at Element CrossFit here, which is where we did the camp. Don't make fun. I know we make fun of CrossFit sometimes, but they're actually a really great gym, and had a lot of really good equipment, so it made training easy. I was supposed to do 520 for 4 sets of 4, and then a plus set. And on the first set, I was like, wow, that felt pretty easy. And of course, it was because I had less weight on the bar. So I had to fix it. So it was like 507 or something like that. So I went and actually put a little bit extra on for my next few sets. So I put on 525 to make sure I still hit my volume. And Ben right here is making fun of that. He was watching from the side and he said it's amazing because you know your levers are so weird, your legs are so long, but your torso is so short that the bar path is straight, but your body kind of goes in all different directions. And that's true. I have a weird squat, kind of squat form, but I've never hurt my back squatting. I don't lose the neutrality in my spine. I've talked about this a ton. I don't lose neutrality in my spine, and my bar path is straight, so it works. You know, and I have good shin angle. It's just to keep, unless I wanted my knee, the only way I'd be able to keep myself more upright is if I really shot my knees out forward really far. And that would not be something, I'd one, be less stable, and two, be more likely to have some sort of a knee injury. And I'm just not a big fan of that. So here is the last plus set coming up here. And I felt really, I don't want to say I felt good, but I felt solid. And ended up getting 10 reps, which the last one, I will say, was iffy in terms of I started to go into a little bit of upper back flexion, which obviously, you know, I try to minimize, but, you know, when you're training for an AMRAP and you hit your AMRAP, I mean, by the end, it's going to be a little difficult. But the reason for that was not because my lower back is weak or anything like that. What happened is I was just so out of breath from doing 525 for the 9 reps previous that when I went to get air for my 10th rep, I just couldn't get enough air in and brace my core, and that basically made it more difficult. But anyway, 10 reps is an all-time PR for me, and see, they're already thinking I'm going to stop, and I'm like, nope, I'm going for an all-time PR. So all-time PR with 525, so I was really happy with that. I didn't get much of a chance to film bench while I was here, which is good because they were ugly, but I still got all my reps. This is 591. It's supposed to do 590, but hey, what's one extra pound? The reason it's 591 is because of kilos. So I was doing doubles, and then it had an AMRAP at the end. This is actually during our camp. This is the only day I trained during our camp. It was always fun, you know. The campers get around you and give you a lot of encouragement, and everybody's taking pictures and all that sort of stuff. So it was fun. And we had a great camp. We really did. The campers were enthusiastic. They had a lot of fun. They loved the squatting. They loved, you know, learning squat, learning deadlift, learning bench press, doing it correctly. And I just felt, I felt really good on deadlift. And it was reflected. I hit 12 on an AMRAP, which is crazy for me with 591. However, I will say that this was a Texas power bar, which has a little bit more flex than the bars I use at Powerhouse. So there's a good probability that if I went back and went to do that with those bars, I'd get a rep or two less, just because this is a little bit more whippy bar. But I was really happy that even when I got, you know, a little bit tired, I still kept, you know, really good bar path and kept myself in a really good position. So I was very, very happy with everything. So here's some video of the guys. Here's my man Ryan Doris. I think this is 463 pounds. He's doing doubles with. Ryan had a few knee issues and had to kind of change his squat form in order to correct those. He's still working on keeping his bar path straight. As you can see, it's straight to right here and then kind of comes forward a little bit. But part of that's probably fatigue as well. You know, you have to realize that we'd all love to. One of the things I find funny is, you know, you'll post a video of you doing an AMRAP set or a max set, and your form will break down a little bit, and people will start pointing out what's weak and that and this. And you know what? I say, guys, like sometimes, like if you're going for a max, you're doing an AMRAP, at a certain point, you're just not strong enough overall. Like, you know, people say, well, your hips are not strong enough, or this is not strong enough, or you got to do that. Look, if nobody, you're going to find a weakness. It happens. God, look at how great Doris's sumo form is. As you can see, completely resets between reps. But yeah, I just, his quads are ridiculous. But yeah, at a certain point, I mean, you're going to find a weakness. That's the point of a max. And so I always find it funny when people like have those criticisms. You know, it's a max for a reason. But yeah, Doris pretty much completely upright back angle on deadlifts. Here's a video of Ben Esgro's squats. I think this is around 375. You know what, Ben has been dealing with a lot of injuries. He's really had a tough go of it. Back stuff and knee stuff, and then he had a foot injury. He actually had some kind of inflammation on his foot. I can't remember what it was, but they're pretty debilitating. But he's kind of like me, a longer guy, very long legs, and so as you can see, has to get quite a bit forward lean. But as you can see, braces correctly and maintains that neutral spine, which is, again, the biggest thing. You can have forward lean as long as you maintain back neutrality. Here's Paul. I think this is 501 right here. This is conservative max. This was on Friday and did it pretty well, kind of slow. But here is on Sunday, and this is what happens with conservative maxing. Your days will change from day to day. This is 517, and watch him smoke this. 2 days later, after 501 was pretty slow. He just pulls it in and just nails it. And that's how conservative maxing goes when you do it 3 times a week. If one day's good, another one's going to be bad, or vice versa. Here's Katie Rutherford. She's getting ready for her first powerlifting meet. She's a beast. This is like 317, and she's smoking it. We had great camp. Looking forward for Katie competing her first powerlifting meet, which is also my next meet in Boca Raton. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We had a lot of fun at our camp, and we will see you guys next week. Take care.
Yes.